Donald Trump is mad, extremely mad that prosecutors will see his tax returns, says the NYMag. Why is he mad? He was supposed to release his tax returns on his own. He said that himself so many times.
I'll be doing my tax returns at the appropriate time. I haven't even announced yet.
You know, if you're running, at a minimum, probably you're going to have to show your returns.
Absolutely, and I would love to do that.
I would certainly show tax returns if it was necessary.
At least a couple of years?
Obviously, it's not something I thought of, but I've given any real thought to, but I have no objection to certainly showing tax returns.
I want to tell you right now, I have no problem with giving my tax returns.
We thought he will release it in 2016. Then we thought he will release it in 2018. Then we thought he will release it in 2020. Will he release it in 2022 on his own? Well, if he didn't do it in the last 5, maybe he will, as soon as the running forever and ever audit is over. I don't know who audits for 5 freaking years. So there is really no surprise that Trump is mad that the Supreme Court said, okay, prosecutors from New York, you can examine his returns now. Not just 1 or 2 years, Manhattan District Attorney Cyrus Vance Jr. will now get his hands on 8 years of Trump's federal income tax returns. Though the New York Times found a way to get some intricate details about Trump's tax filings and told us that Trump paid just $750 in federal income tax in 2016, I believe, and paid nothing for 10 out of 15 years, the Times could not find one big piece of information. If Trump paid Miss Clifford, and if he did, then how did he do it? The Times could not get those details because it couldn't find anything related to that with his tax filings. That will not be the case anymore. Now the Manhattan District Attorney will find out what exactly happened because Trump's accountants will not only be turning over his federal income tax returns, but they will also have to produce business records on which those returns are based on, as well as turn over communications with the Trump organization.
Because what will ultimately show is that Donald Trump with the hush money payments did not declare it for in whatever way that you would declare it. I'm not an accountant, so I don't know, but I'm sure you can't deduct it as a legal fee or some other manner, which I'm certain that that's exactly what he did.
The prosecutors now have access to pretty much all the details they would normally seek. It is amazing that the country is discussing so much about a single man's tax returns and business dealings. If Trump has nothing to hide, then what is he worried about? Why did he even have to withhold his tax returns while running for president? Why all the I will release it today, I will release it tomorrow, and I will release it day after tomorrow speech? And why all the fury just because a government attorney has access to records? Every single presidential nominee before Trump had released tax returns. Trump was not the only rich man to run for president. There were so many, but none of them faced an issue while releasing their tax returns. He never brought himself around to release them when he was in the White House. Now, New York prosecutors will have access to a lot more than his tax returns because now the investigators will be able to take a magnifying glass to all the events and piece them all together, which is the most important thing you need to do if you are going to make a case out of it, and they were not able to do it until this day because they had no access to these filings and business records at the same time. For example, no one has a clue about the trail of payments that went through Trump businesses in 2016 when he was running for president. But now you can piece all that data together and see if the rule of the land was followed or not.
There are a lot of unanswered questions about something that happened in 2016 where the president, when he was running for president, his campaign was sort of low on funds, and you and your colleagues were able to report that he engineered a big cash windfall himself that appeared to originate with a Las Vegas hotel. I wonder if you could walk us through sort of both of those concerns, the Las Vegas issue and the Ivanka issue, in terms of what the potential pitfalls might be there for the president.
And then with the Las Vegas hotel, very interesting. In 2016, he got several one-time, really outsized cash payments, more than $20 million that we could see flowing from a hotel in Vegas that he co-owns with another individual, 2 companies that Donald Trump alone controls, and then they went out as just huge cash distributions in the middle of the election. He has said that there are agreements underpinning these. We could identify, on a couple of occasions, a couple of the payments where there was an agreement, others were not sure. We haven't seen those agreements, so we don't know. And I think that's one of the things that probably investigators are going to look at when they can get in and start to understand what's there. Let's see the agreement. What did he tell his accountants about it? They were very unusual, and it was $30 million coming to him, during 2016 when he was, his campaign was running low on cash.
It's amazing that we had a candidate for president, ultimately a successful candidate for president, who engineered a mysterious $20 or $30 million payment to himself in the middle of his campaign. And all these years later, it's still a total black box.
So is there a way Trump can stop this from going forward? He has kept his tax returns and business dealings out of prying eyes for so many years. So why wouldn't he do that for another few? Is stalling a viable option? Not an option, says.
Okay. And technically, the subpoena is not to Donald Trump. It's to this accounting company. And they're professionals. Their lawyers are professionals. They're not obstreperous Trump crazy lawyers. They're just going to hand this stuff over, right?
Absolutely. They're third parties. I mean, we're waiting for the go-ahead from the court. This reminds me very much of the situation we were in when we got the accounting records from Paul Manafort's accountants. And just so your viewers understand, the reason this is so important is that the government is going to need to show not only that tax returns or bank loan applications were wrong, in other words, that the amounts were erroneous, but they then need to show that Donald Trump or whoever they're focusing on knew that they were wrong and filed them nevertheless intentionally. And accounting records can be a gold mine in terms of proving all of that not only are they wrong, but that it was knowingly so. And they can really put the lie to a particular person. So they can end up either showing that Donald Trump himself knew and did this intentionally, or they can use it to flip people who were used to prepare these documents. So this is really going to be a wealth of information for the Manhattan District Attorney's Office.
Just like every other private citizen, Trump will have to prove his innocence in the court. If he did the right thing, he should not be worried. He should have faith in the judiciary, just like how the common man does. Have faith in the process and obey the law of the land, just like how every true Republican does.